This is the quick start guide for the Excel skills trade-based accounting template. Our trade-based accounting template enables users to record income and expenses and automatically produces a trial balance income statement, cash flow statement, and balance sheet. The template is suitable for businesses that trade in products requiring stock codes. Let's start with the setup. So the business name can be entered and it's used as a heading on the other sheets in the template. Business address and contact details and sales tax reference number and business registration number, that's all included on the invoice and customer statement. So the first financial year needs to be set, and this will always remain the same. You also set the year-end month, and based on that, the first day of the financial year is determined. The reporting year is the same as the first financial year in the first year, but the template accommodates multiple financial years, and it's this reporting year that can be used to switch between financial years. So your first financial year will always remain the same, and the reporting year can be used to roll the template forward or back. The sales tax codes and percentages can be set in this section. So you just set a code and you enter a percentage. You can also add additional sales tax codes to the table. The selling price input is very important. It determines that on the income sheet, when you record transactions, whether you are going to enter the prices exclusive or inclusive of sales tax. Okay, so you can elect inclusive or exclusive there. Bank accounts, you can set up bank accounts in this section. So you enter a bank code and a bank description, and then you copy the TB status and the balance sheet status formulas. So when you insert a new row for a new bank account, you just copy those two columns formulas. The banking details section is included on the invoice sheet, and the input error codes at the bottom of the sheet are provided for information purposes. So if you enter transactions and you encounter any of these error codes, you can look up the reasons. Okay, the next step is to add your opening balances in column C on the TB sheet. So all your balance sheet opening balances can be entered there. You do not need to enter opening balances for income statement accounts because we only allow full financial years to be included in this template. Okay, the section at the bottom of the sheet, these are all control accounts. The opening balances in blue are calculated. So your bank balances and your trade debtors need to be opening balances need to be entered on the income sheet. The trade creditors opening balance needs to be entered on the expenses sheet, and the inventory opening balance is entered on the stock sheet. Okay, the retained earnings is a user input cell, and the subsequent periods are calculated. So columns E to H contain formulas which are automatically calculated. If you insert accounts on the sheet, you do so by inserting a new row, entering an account number in column A, a description in column B, and copying the formulas from columns E to H. Okay, you also need to insert your new accounts on the appropriate financial report, whether it's income statement or balance sheet. Okay, the next sheet is a customer sheet. The customer sheet, you need to add unique customer codes for every customer in column A. Enter billing name, billing address, and sales tax reference number. And then columns with light blue column headings contain formulas which calculate the outstanding balance and an aging. So the balance date can be set at the top of the sheet, and balance and aging calculations are calculated based on that date. On the stock sheet, you need to create a unique stock code for each stock item, enter a description and a unit of measure. You also need to assign a cost of sales GL code, which should be in the ISO2 account range. And then if there's opening stock, you can enter a startup quantity and a startup cost. The sheet also includes a stock analysis, so all these columns with light blue column headings contain formulas which are automatically calculated based on a from and a to date that's set at the top of the sheet. So it includes an inventory valuation, a unit cost, quantity on hand, then there's a startup valuation for your startup costs, and then there's opening quantity, purchased quantity, invoiced quantity, and closing quantity. So 4 columns on the quantity section, and then opening valuation, a total purchase value, total cost of sales value, closing valuation, and then a total sales value and a gross profit value and percentage. So it's a complete analysis of stock movements by stock code. Okay, so income needs to be recorded on the income sheet. All the columns with yellow column headings require user input. The columns with light blue column headings contain formulas and are automatically extended as you add transactions to the sheet. So you basically need to enter a unique invoice number in column A. You can also enter receipt numbers if it's for transactions that do not have invoices. Invoice dates in column B. All invoice dates are entered based on your regional date settings. You select the customer code in column C, stock code in column D. If it's a stock item, if it's not a stock item, you'll just leave it blank. A description in column E, quantity and a selling price in column F and G. Remember, the selling price basis is set on the setup sheet. And then you select a tax code and a bank code, and all the codes that have been created on the setup sheet will be available. The account numbers, you select the account number from this drop-down list. You'll see there's a data validation error, and that is basically because we include both the account number and the description in the drop-down list, and Excel only allows one column to be included. So we've implemented this workaround to make it easy to select the appropriate accounts. When you enter your transactions, initially the payment amount and date will be blank, but as soon as the customer pays the invoice, you enter a payment date and a payment amount. Okay, as I mentioned, these columns with the light blue column headings are calculated automatically, and it includes a few stock related calculations as well to calculate profitability. There's also an outstanding balance calculation in column P. So if you want to see what your trade debtors amounts consist of at a particular month end, you just enter the appropriate month end and you can see which invoices are listed as outstanding. Okay, so the invoice sheet only requires one user input in one cell. You just enter the invoice number and the rest of the sheet is automatically populated. Statement sheet, similarly, here you just select a customer code and you enter a statement date and the rest of the sheets automatically populated. So customer statements are compiled on an open item basis, which means that you don't see payments reflected on here, you'll just see outstanding invoices. Okay, all expenses need to be recorded on the expenses sheet. The columns with yellow column headings require user input. The light blue columns are calculated, so you'll enter the document date, supplier, select the stock code, enter a transaction reference and description, enter a quantity and a tax inclusive amount. So you don't have any options here. This needs to be an inclusive amount. You select a tax code and a bank code, and all the codes that have been created on the setup sheet will also be included here. You select account number, all the account numbers that are created on the TB sheet will be available here. And initially you leave the payment date blank, and as soon as you pay the invoice, then you enter a payment date. In terms of the calculated columns, there's also a balance column, an outstanding balance, where you can see your trade creditors balance, which invoices it consists of, by just entering the date at the top of column M. Expense types are indicated here. If it's a stock item, then it will show stock. There's a price per unit calculation as well, and a final account based on whether the item is stock related or not. Okay, so the next sheet is your income statement. Your income statement is automatically populated, and the sheet requires no user input. The cash flow statement is also populated automatically with no user input required. Similarly, the balance sheet is automatically calculated and no user input required. There's also a balance sheet status at the bottom, which indicates whether the balance sheet is in balance and whether the cash amounts agree to the cash flow statement. The next sheet is a bank sheet. So you can select a bank code and select a month, and you can see the daily movements of that particular selected bank account and also the monthly movements. On the sales tax sheet, you can select a tax code, and you can then view the details for a particular tax code, or you can clear the tax code and view the calculations for all tax codes. The last sheet is a GP sheet, where you can set the individual stock code to analyze monthly profitability. And that's basically it. If you need any further guidance on the template, please go to the template instruction sheet, where we cover all aspects of the template, and you can also visit the support section of our YouTube channel, where we post videos based on user feedback.